just sum up how you're feeling. It's a bit of a hostile environment out here. What's going through your head, Luke?
I'm not bothered, really, I'm not bothered. Really not bothered. Can I just say one thing? You guys pay for tickets and you're paying for my prize money, so thank you. Thank you for my money. Thank you for booing me. Thank you.
These are 10 times Luke Littler clashed with the fans. From a teenage apology over a tabloid photograph to that now infamous outburst at Alexandra Palace, this is how the reigning world champion kept finding himself in a war of words with the crowds paying to watch him throw. Born on January 21st, 2007 in Warrington, England, Luke Littler reached the World Championship final at 16, captured the title at 17 and held on to it at 18. The hostility arrived alongside the trophies. Some of it came from rival fans, some from foreign crowds, and a fair share came from confrontations Littler created entirely on his own. We start with the Sun newspaper photograph from December 2023. The first storm broke during his breakthrough run at the 2023/24 PDC World Championship at Alexandra Palace. The trigger was a single photograph showing 16-year-old Littler holding up a copy of the Sun newspaper alongside a kebab. On Merseyside, the Sun has been boycotted for decades over its coverage of the 1989 Hillsborough disaster, and Littler grew up near Liverpool, so the social media backlash from Liverpool fans arrived within hours. His response landed on Twitter on December 29, 2023. He wrote, "Today a photograph of me holding up a newspaper has been published in the media. The media attention I have been getting is very new to me, and I didn't fully understand at the time what I was being asked to do. In no way do I endorse that newspaper or the headline which accompanied the article, and I sincerely apologize for any offense this has caused." The apology landed cleanly with most fans. The precedent, though, was already set. Every step Littler took from that moment forward would be magnified, dissected, and turned into a headline. The second clash brought the shushing gesture in Aberdeen. His Premier League debut season carried him to P&J Live on May 2nd, 2024 for night 14, where he beat Nathan Aspinall 6-5 in the quarter-final. Sections of the crowd whistled and booed throughout his attempts at the doubles. By the time he hit double 10 to seal the match, his patience had worn through, and Littler turned toward the crowd, shushed them, and shouted something inaudible at the same time. Footage of the moment went viral within hours. Reactions split down the middle, although one widely shared comment captured by Sport Bible put the case for the defense. Luke had every right to react like that to the crowd at the end because that blatant whistling was disgraceful. Littler still went on to win the night, beating Rob Cross in the final, and later joined in with Aspinall's Mr. Brightside walk-on as a goodwill gesture. The shushing, though, was the moment that stuck. Number 3 takes us to Brighton and the pint thrown at Aspinall in March 2025. By Premier League Night 5, the crowds had grown louder and the behaviour had grown worse. The night unfolded at the Brighton Centre on 6th March 2025, with Littler beating Aspinall 6-3 in the final. Trouble flared during Aspinall's walk-on when a fan threw a pint at him. Speaking to Sky Sports afterwards, Littler condemned the moment directly. "I think there was a pint thrown at Nathan as soon as he came up on the stage. Crazy. I think we all know some have been good, some have been a bit bad. But that is the darts fans for you. They are either good or they are either bad." The PDC issued a statement saying it does not condone any behaviour that disrupts events and that it works closely with venues on crowd control. For the second time in a single year, Littler had spoken out on behalf of darts itself. The fourth clash sent him to Berlin for the booing of an English world champion in April 2025. Berlin produced the first major foreign blow-up during the 2025 Premier League. Littler lost 6-2 to Chris Dobie in the quarter-final at the Uber Arena and was booed throughout, gesturing back at sections of the crowd more than once. Speaking to Online Darts afterwards, he admitted to losing his cool. "I had a little head loss moment, as some of us players do. I just don't get it, and I can't explain it. Obviously, you do your walk-on, but then as soon as I got on stage, I started getting booed." His own theory followed shortly after. "Me and Luke Humphries, we get it quite a lot. Obviously the Germans mustn't like us English." German pundit and former tour card holder Max Hopp watched the night and could not work it out, telling reporters, "I heard it too. He was, interacting a lot with the crowd, making gestures and engaging with them. But I don't understand why people would boo him. They should be thanking him. The fact that prize money is about to skyrocket is all because of him." Number 5 carries the story to Munich and the Germany boycott of April 2025. The hostility in Germany did not stop in Berlin. Within days, at the German darts Grand Prix at the Kulturhalle Zenith in Munich, Littler suffered a 7-4 semi-final defeat to Gian van Veen, with the crowd booing him throughout. What happened next put the moment on a different level entirely. A picture appeared on Instagram of a car footwell, captioned, "Shouldn't have been in Munich but had to play anyway." Next one in Germany for me is Dortmund, and I am glad to say that. Littler deleted the post quickly. The damage by then was already done. The boycott followed almost immediately. Pulling out of the European Darts Grand Prix in May 2025, he then skipped all 8 Hildesheim Pro Tour events, returning to Germany only for the Frankfurt World Cup of Darts in June 2025 and the Dortmund European Championship later in the year. Littler revealed afterwards that the booing in Germany went back further than people realised, telling Online Darts, "I got booed in Hildesheim last year against Peter Wright on the European Tour. I was flying, and then they started booing me, and I lost." The 6th incident unfolded in Frankfurt during the World Cup walk-on in June 2025. England arrived at the Eissporthalle in Frankfurt for the 2025 World Cup of Darts as the so-called Dream Team. Luke Littler and Luke Humphries stood as the 2 best players on the planet and the favourites for the title. The German crowd had other plans entirely. Booed during their walk-on to Vindaloo by Fat Les, the pair went down 8-4 to Martin Schindler and Ricardo Pietreczko of Germany. Schindler told Sky Sports, "For us, we have to say it's not getting easier for us because our opponents are getting booed or whistled. So we still need to go out there and perform, and we've done that." Even one of the German players involved was acknowledging that hostility had become a tactic. Number 7 moves to Wolverhampton and the Dedeker Whistling Row in November 2025. The Grand Slam of Darts at Aldersley Leisure Village brought a different kind of clash. Littler clawed back from 8-4 down and 9-7 down in the last 16 to beat Mike Dedeker 10-9, but the win was overshadowed by what was happening around him. Throughout the contest, the Belgian repeatedly complained to referee Kirk Bevins that the crowd was whistling at him whenever he attempted doubles. His complaints were ignored. Littler held up his hands apologetically after winning, telling Sky Sports, "I don't know if I enjoyed that. I've got a feel for Mike." The crowd, obviously they were on his back even worse. Then I just took full advantage. Bevins addressed the situation himself on X, posting, "The crowd just get worse when referees address the crowd." John McDonald even addressed the crowd in the break once regarding this, and they got worse. His suggested solution was to report whistlers to security and have them ejected from the venue. Number 8 brings us to Milton Keynes and the World Masters heckler. The Windmill World Masters at Marshall Arena produced another individual clash. During his 4-1 last 16 win over Ross Smith, a spectator near the front of the stage heckled Littler from start to finish. Speaking afterwards, the world champion was direct about it. A few things in the crowd again at the very front, and even Ross said when we went off at 3-1, "He's an idiot, that guy," whoever it was. I didn't know who it was, but it was just throughout the game. He also explained why he no longer wanted referees stepping in. I think, obviously, it could make it worse at times. Obviously, we've seen in the Premier League last year, me and Luke, when Kirk said stop whistling and everyone started whistling. The lesson he had learned was simple enough. The louder officials shouted, the louder the fans shouted back. Number 9 arrives at Alexandra Palace and the Rob Cross outburst of December 2025. The biggest verbal clash of his career erupted at the 2025/26 PDC World Championship at Alexandra Palace on 29th December 2025. In the last 16, Littler beat Rob Cross 4-2 with an average of 106.5, 8 and 17 maximums, the most by any individual in a match at TEA. That year's event, Cross had fought back from 3-1 down. The Ali Pali crowd had backed him heavily. Littler grew visibly agitated, repeated the words, "What now?" at the crowd after winning, and walked into his onstage interview with Sky Sports already at boiling point. His exact words went on record instantly. "Am I bothered? Really? Am I bothered? Really not bothered. Can I just say one thing? You guys pay for the tickets and you pay for my prize money, so thank you. Thank you for my money. Thank you for booing me. Thank you. Come on." In his press conference afterwards, he doubled down rather than walk it back. "It was just pure emotion. I said what I said. They paid for the tickets and pretty much they're paying for our prize money. So yeah, I'm not regretting anything." Adding to that on the crowd's motivation, he said, "That was definitely a task that I wasn't ready for. Did they want the underdog to win? Did they want the games to go on longer? Who knows? Sky Sports pundit Wayne Mardle described the interview as odd, saying it was as if Littler was looking for something. Glenn Durran urged people to remember Littler was 18 years old. Lisa Littler, his mother, took to X to defend her son, calling some critics vile, idiots, and worse, even replying to one user with a middle finger emoji. Despite all of it, Littler beat Gian van Veen 7-1 in the final to retain his world title. The 10th and most explosive clash unfolded at the AO Arena in Manchester on April 2nd, 2026. Night 9 of the BetMGM Premier League put Littler back across from Gian van Veen, the same player who had knocked him out in Munich, and the Dutchman beat him 6-5 in the quarter-final. At 5-5, Van Veen went inside on double 15 and missed, caught on camera fist-pumping toward the crowd. Littler later said the celebration was meant for his girlfriend Faith Miller and her father, who were sitting in the audience. Van Veen turned and stared at him. After missing match darts at double 7 and losing the leg, the world champion produced what witnesses described as a crybaby gesture, miming crying toward the Manchester crowd as Van Veen stepped up to seal it. Their handshake came out frosty. Wayne Mardle, watching on commentary, said he could lip-read what Littler was saying but would not repeat it on air. Van Veen told Sky Sports, "I'm on 90, I missed double 15 on the inside, and then I see him celebrating towards the crowd. I don't think that's normal." And then he also makes that crying gesture. He's a fantastic darts player, but today he showed he's not a good loser. Celebrating a miss from your opponent, that really annoys me. Littler's account, given to Online Darts, painted a different picture. The 18-year-old put it this way: "I didn't do it to him, I did it to Faith and her dad, the whole crowd." On Van Veen's stare, he added, "There was no need for Gian to look back and stare at me. He's still got a dart in hand, so really he should just step back, look at the floor, and then throw his last dart." Calling Van Veen a crybaby for putting his darts down on the table while the match was still live finished the exchange. The fallout came immediately. At Brighton on 9 of April 2026, Littler walked on to loud boos, cupped his ear at the crowd, and recorded the lowest televised PDC average of his career at 83.94 with 0 180s. He told Sky Sports, "I had the worst average. I knew it was pretty bad. Even when I got on stage I didn't want to be there. I just couldn't be bothered." A week later in Rotterdam, on the 16th of April 2026, on Van Veen's home soil, the booing followed Littler through all 3 of his matches. He still beat Gerwyn Price and Luke Humphries before losing the final to Johnny Clayton. Asked about it afterwards, he summed it up bluntly: "Rotterdam was far worse than tonight. That's the worst I've experienced. Across 2.5 years, 10 flashpoints turned the most watched player in darts into the most argued about one. Apologies came in 2023 and almost never afterwards." Littler pushed back at crowds in Aberdeen, Berlin, Manchester, Brighton, Rotterdam, and Alexandra Palace, defended his rivals in Brighton and Wolverhampton, boycotted German venues, and reminded a hostile Ali Pali crowd in his most quoted line of all that they were paying for his prize money. PDC Chief Executive Matt Porter said in late April 2026 that Littler had thrived on the hostility but might need a different approach. Phil Taylor said he was tough enough to ride it out. Luke Humphries said it would be hot news now and gone next week. The truth sits somewhere in between. Luke Littler has become the player the crowd loves to boo, and the player who very rarely lets a boo go unanswered.